I hear we're telling stories around the campfire, scary stories about the biggest mistakes we've ever made. So I thought I'd share with you my biggest mistake. I was working at Twin Cities Public Television. So that would be the company behind Masterpiece Theater, PBS. It was our local affiliate for those broadcasts and stuff. And I'd gotten a job there as a first job after running an experiment where I stayed home as a stay-at-home spouse. Now, before you make assumptions, I don't have any kids, or it was really just doing some dishes and laundry and trying to reduce stress on my wife, who had a really stressful job. Well, we did this experiment where we were a single income household for 3 months. And then right after that, I was able to land a job at this nonprofit, the local PBS affiliate. Now, I'd been at the job probably 2 or so years after this, when this had happened. So I was pretty good at the job. We sent a lot of fundraising letters out to people. And so I'd have to generate that file in a spreadsheet, and probably generated 3 to 4 of these files per month, and sent them over to a mail house or a print house to get those into the constituents' homes and mailboxes. And so probably had about 100,000 letters a month going out. So anyway, in this particular month, we first noticed it when I came in the morning, and the customer service team who'd gotten there before me, they're like, "Justin, something's up." Like, "What do you mean?" "We've been getting some calls. A lot of donors are reporting that they got multiple copies of the same letter." "What do you mean?" "I mean, I know we just had this letter go out, but a few weeks ago, so that, I mean, it's about time when they should be landing in their mailboxes. That makes sense. But what do you mean copies?" And they're like, "No, literally, not 1, not 2, not 3, but like 5 copies of the exact same letter in their mailbox on the exact same day." And they were mad because, they've been donating money, and we were asking for them to donate money, and this looked like a huge waste of their money. So really no surprise their anger, and no surprise my embarrassment to know that absolutely this would be my fault. I didn't have any doubt in that moment that I was going to uncover I had done something wrong. I just didn't know what yet. And so immediately I jump into the data in Salesforce and try to figure out if I'd marked these people, with my data upload or anything, that they'd been sent more copies than one. Like, maybe would that be a clue? No clue there. Otherwise, customer service would have already known that from the records. No, I traced it back to the tool I used to generate that spreadsheet. I had a stored procedure that ran this each month and did the same actions to prepare the file and get those addresses organized. That tool had a little checkbox, true, false, Boolean checkbox. And for some reason, it had been tripped to true, and it normally wasn't. But I don't pay much attention to that checkbox because it's not normally changing. Well, anyway, I'd accidentally checked it to true. I was the only one to use this tool, so I knew it was me. And that little checkbox said, "Append the CSV each time you run this," rather than when it was false, it would mean overwrite the entire file. Just throw everything out, redo it, make a new file. Well, I thought it was false, but it was true. So long story short, I was appending 50,000 rows over and over again each time I ran that month as I prepared the file and reworked some things. And so I put 5 copies of the same row 5 times throughout that file. Thing was huge. What normally would be 50,000 rows ballooned, into 250,000 rows, and the print house didn't think anything of it. They just started printing them and sending them. Well, this mistake costs over $20,000 because that's printing fees, that's postage fees. There's a lot going on there. So now we're in crisis mode. Got to figure out what to do about it. And the first thing I do is I stop the customer service team with what they decided to tell the customers. They were making it up on the spot because they were put in a very difficult situation, and they were saying to the customers, it appears we've had some problem with our systems. There's been a problem with our process, our systems. Trying to blame the computers, and I didn't like that because honestly, computers are pretty infallible things. You don't want to blame technology because then your donors will not trust technology, and that would be really bad because we need technology to be trusted. And so I quickly told the customer service team, no, go ahead and tell them it was my mistake. It was. Just say, our person who runs this process made a mistake, and then the blame is on a human, and the human is very fallible. The constituents will understand that better and continue to trust us and our systems. So then later in the day, we and my manager, after she's getting involved, she's putting what we call a blocker in front of the call so that we tell people as they call in with a recording, hey, we're aware of this situation. You don't need to hang on hold and tell us about this situation we are already aware of. That's a fun little trick I learned about customer service. Only a manager would have known about that. So they put that blocker in place, and that reduced the call volume, but you'd be surprised. People still like to wait on hold there to tell us their feelings. And then I also found a stuffed animal of Cookie Monster, and my manager and I tried to we drafted an email. Basically, by the end of the day, I was able to get an email out to the people that were impacted. I was able to identify the people that were impacted, about 7,000 of them, and get an email out to them that included this image. I think you can see it right now. Pretty proud of that. A little photo shoot I did with my manager, showing them how surprised I was. And we apologized in this email saying, hey, I made a mistake. This person right here in that picture made a mistake. I did pitch my bosses, hey, could we turn this into a fundraising email and ask them to donate money in hopes of getting me some additional training? And they laughed at that, but they did not want to send that to donors. So that idea was nixed. But I still got this picture and got this sent out to 7,000 members. So I'm pretty proud of that legacy. Another thing I loved was the replies I would get from this email. One of my favorites was an astrophysicist professor from the University of Minnesota. He replied back, hey man, you made my day. We've all made mistakes. That was great. But this was great. This was great. So some people liked it. Some people did not, though, which brings me to what happened the following weeks. As we learned that some people's choice of communication was not to call us, not to wait on hold and tell us how they felt. They got paper and a pen, and sometimes a very custom letterhead that they had made for their family with pretty pictures and things that you could order online for writing notes to yourself. And they wrote in cursive and handwriting just how much they were disappointed with me and mailed that back to us. So they then spent their postage to tell me how bad a job I'd done, which I found kind of ironic and also laughable. So my customer service teammate put together this collage for me, which I really appreciated, and made sure to keep a photo of forever. So there's that. Oh, did I not get that picture up on the screen? Let me double check. Yeah, I didn't get that picture up on the screen, so I'll do it again. Dang it. I was trying to show a picture. It was this one. This is the collage I was trying to show. Sorry, I didn't click the share button there very well. But you get the idea. See the custom letterhead there and stuff. Okay, so stop sharing. Okay. So back to, that's so I don't have to learn how to edit. You can see those screenshots there. So what happened with this story? Nothing really. I mean, my boss was pretty disappointed, but I also have a boss with 30 years experience at this point. So she was also understanding that mistakes happen. And we just resolved it as best we could by getting that email out, putting the blocker up on the call team, and communicating, the impact of it and calculating the cost. But beyond that, she knew my mistake. She knew I knew and felt bad about it, and she knew that I was furiously fervently trying to find the root cause, which was ended up being that checkbox, which I think I found midday or so. So anyway, what I didn't realize when this happened to me is how it would still linger and come back again. So fast forward probably 6-7 months, we're having a after hours happy hour with catered food, and a board meeting had just resolved, and so board members were encouraged to mingle with the staff as part of relationship building. And it was pretty interesting to get a chance to shake hands with some of these board members who are like CEOs and CFOs and CIOs of different companies nearby. And one of them was the CIO of Wells Fargo. And our CFO was making some introductions around the room while we ate some hors d'oeuvres. And she introduced me to the CIO of Wells Fargo. And she said, "This is Justin. He's our Salesforce administrator. We really appreciate the work he does for us. In fact, you might remember that letter that went out 5 times." And, I'm bright red, embarrassed now that she's bringing up this story. She says, "Yeah, Justin was the one who really helped us quickly react to that and triage the situation. And we really appreciated him jumping up with some ideas about how to resolve it quickly." And I was flabbergasted. I, tongue tied, didn't know what to say. But I told him in that moment, I decided to bring back that comment I made earlier about stopping the customer service team and saying, "Hey, technology is important in every company, but it's incredibly important to us in nonprofits, and we can't risk the constituents losing their trust in the technology." And so I told them to blame the human, blame me, and continue, change that talking point going forward. So that, and I took the blame for that, but I feel like the donors were more receptive to that because they could understand that a human is fallible, and things like that. So we finished our hors d'oeuvres, and I left quickly, can't not being able to believe that was how I was introduced to a board member as the person who made that mistake, but reacted well to it in that moment as well. So if you take anything away from this little campfire story, is remember that these moments of difficulty, these mistakes that we make, they can be character building, and it's your choice on how to respond to them. And the response is sometimes even more memorable than the actual mistake itself. So hope that helps. And if any employers accidentally find this video somehow, please delete it and pretend you know. I'm saying I've made a $20,000 mistake before, so I'm well trained and possibly won't make a $20,000 mistake in your organization as well, and would try to put in preventative measures to stop that. Oh, that does remind me one more thing. My boss was excited in the following days. She had conversations with that mailhouse vendor and asked if there was anything they could have done too to prevent it. And they, of course, wanted to charge her $800 to code in a duplicate prevention step so that it wouldn't happen. I had already coded one in on my end too, but it wouldn't hurt to have the redundancy after this kind of mistake and this expense. So she said, "Justin, it's worth $800 to me. I will be paying that." But she wanted to just make sure I was fully aware of all the additional costs that kind of unfolded from this. So I hope you enjoyed, and be thankful you didn't have to live through that too. I can't really play guitar. I just know like 5 chords.